which car is louder, the FRS or the Mustang. Like, I get a lot of compliments on the Mustang, people saying that the car is loud, but I think it's just kind of like that V8 kind of loud, but I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comment section of the video, what car do you think is louder, the FRS or the Mustang? I want to say the FRS is louder, at least right now, with this current Catback I have in this car. I want to say the FRS is louder. If I put like a Borla S-Type or like an Attack, this car would 110% be louder. But I'm not too sure. Man, just cruising this car. I still haven't really gone wide open throttle yet, just kind of getting used to it. Because remember, this is going to be a completely different feel as opposed to driving like a 4-cylinder with a lot less torque, and also a hydraulic clutch versus a cable clutch. But that does not take away the fact that even a 20-year-old Mustang, almost a 20-year-old Mustang, well, technically this style of Mustang is 20 years old, is still worth buying here in 2021. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. Is it worth buying a 20-year-old SM95 Mustang here in 2021? I 100% need to get these windows tinted, because I know people think I'm weird as hell driving with the GoPro. Oh man. Like, this car is just fun to just cruise and listen to the sound. Like that, I think that's just a good enough reason right there to go ahead and pick up one of these cars. They're relatively inexpensive depending on, you know, what area you live in. I recommend actually driving out of state depending on what area you live in to pick up one of these cars. Typically a state that doesn't really see too much rust, or a state where these cars' value isn't as high. Because I didn't buy this car in Illinois, absolutely not. These cars are about 50 to 75% over market value as of right now in Illinois. I left Illinois to pick this car up. Leaning into it there, not going wide open throttle. It's just, I'm gonna say this every single video, man. These cars, the 2-valve Mustangs, even the 3-valve Mustangs, you don't have to drive these cars fast to enjoy them. Now I understand it's a Mustang, people like to drive them fast, that's perfectly fine. Hell, I'm gonna go ahead and add some force induction to this car to make it a little bit quicker. But at the stock form, the way it is right now, if somebody told me, look, you cannot mod this car as far as power adders, all you can do is exhaust, you know, stuff like that, no force induction, I'd still be happy with this platform just because of what it is. And I think because it's so quote-unquote old, and because like it's just different, you really can't get an experience like this from any other. Well, you can, arguably a C5 Corvette, but you really can't really get this experience from like a newer car. At least maybe, I don't know of a newer car that you can get this experience from. This car is fun, just the way it is, with just modifications that realistically just change the sound and improve airflow. I think I have a slight exhaust leak. where the shorty headers are. And even with that, the car is still fun to drive. Now, yes, because I did say I have shorty headers, before you guys come at me, I bought the car with the shorty headers already on it. If I do decide to go ahead and add a blower to this car, obviously we're going to swap those over to long tubes. But if I do go to do a turbo setup, we'll have to just use the manifolds, which are going to be forward-facing shorty headers. So I'm kind of, you know, weighing my options and figuring out exactly what I'm going to do with the car. I'm not too sure. Part of me wants to do a turbo, part of me wants to add a blower to this car. I've been driving this car for like the whole month ownership I've had this car. Like, this car is 1 month ownership today. I bought this car literally a month ago today, and I literally just cruise it, shifting at like 4,000, shifting at like 35, sometimes 3. That's how I enjoy driving this car, man. And I think that's how a lot of 2-valve owners, honestly Mustang owners in general, drive this car. I just like it. I think that's like the most important thing about going ahead and picking up a car, especially the older cars. Go ahead and roll up my windows a little bit. Especially these older cars, like, you have to really enjoy them. I'm not too sure what I want to do, because I want to go ahead, I'm 100% going to boost this car by the beginning of next year. But the thing is, like, I also want to add a cam to this car, but I kind of want to experience a cam without boost. And I also kind of wanted to experience nitrous as well on a V8, but I feel like that'd kind of be a waste of money, because if I was going to add a nitrous system to this car and then go ahead and add forced injection, I mean, obviously, you know, we're going to do some motor work, but at the same time, I'm not really too sure what's the smart decision. As far as the cam before boost, I really do want to experience the cam before boost, but at the same time, I know I'd be spending more money getting the, well, actually, you know, yeah, I definitely would be spending more money getting the cam installed on this motor as opposed to getting it installed on a built motor. But at the same time, I kind of just want to just do it just because I want to experience a cam to V8, especially how this car drives. I've heard so many different opinions on how a cam can either, you know, destroy how a car, you know, drives, daily driving it, quote unquote daily driving it, or people just don't care. Honestly, I probably wouldn't care, but I still want to experience the cam, because I'd go ahead and I'd get a big cam on this car. You know, I want to hear the low, I'd want to have the power benefit. I wouldn't get no like daily cam. I'd probably get like a stage 3 or like a custom grind cam. But the problem with the custom grind cam is, like, you're going to be kind of restricted to whatever type of force induction platform you want to be set to. And realistically, I'm not too sure if I want to be set on a supercharger or I want to be set on a turbo. Now, obviously, I turboed the FRS, but at the same time, I want to kind of throw a supercharger on the Mustang, because it kind of just makes sense, even though I know the turbo would yield more power a lot easier. But at the same time, I always wanted to experience a supercharged Mustang, and considering the fact this is a 2-valve Mustang, these love boost, I feel like it'd be a great time to go ahead and throw a supercharger on this instead. Whether it be a PD blower or a centrifugal blower, I mean, either or would be great. I don't know. Pull up to a spot. Want to kind of give you guys a little POV drive action. right, what you guys are looking at is my 2004 Mustang GT that currently has 160,000 miles on the body and about 70,000 miles on the motor. Now, unfortunately, the spot that I was gonna go to record this part of the video is actually under construction. So I figured let's just pull up to an empty parking lot and discuss if it's worth buying a 20-year-old Mustang here in 2021. Now, the quick, short answer, the honest answer, is going to be yes. These cars are incredibly fun to drive, and I think it's going to be a great learning platform for anybody trying to get into the stick shift area of driving cars, or somebody that just wants to kind of get an understanding and a feel of a V8 or muscle car, you know, in that nature. Now, this is also coming from somebody who currently owns a turbo 2013 Scion FRS that actually is pushing more horsepower, a little bit less torque, and is most likely a lot quicker than the car that I'm currently talking about right now. But that is not going to take away from the fact that these cars are incredibly fun to drive. Now, again, I 100% agree that the 2004, in my case 2004 Mustang GT, or any of the SN95 Mustangs, they are going to need some modifications in order to make them more driver friendly and a little bit quicker off the line. Now, my Mustang right now, the modifications on it are going to be BBK Shorty headers. It has a BBK off-road X Pipe. It has Magnaflow Magnapack exhaust. It also has 410 gears in the rear, and it is sitting about an inch lower on Roush lowering springs with some sticky, you know, Federal 595 RSRR tires. So the car gets up off the line. You can blow the tires off. It's incredibly fun to drive. Now, the nice thing about these older Mustangs is a lot of owners, especially for those of you who are trying to buy these cars right now, most likely already have similar modifications done. So these cars are essentially ready right off the box if you guys are trying to pick these up. Now, another thing I want to kind of put out there about these Mustangs, and this kind of speaks volumes, and I don't know about you guys, but there is no better feeling owning a car that is fully paid. I think that kind of speaks to everybody. You can pick these cars up for relatively cheap, and another good thing about these cars is depending on where you live, which if you guys live in the Midwest or you guys live in a state that has a lot of rust, I recommend you guys actually going out of state and finding a clean Mustang GT that is fully rust free, that you guys can essentially pick up for a lot less. Now, I picked up my car for about 50 to 75% less than the current market value in Illinois. So if for whatever reason I get tired of this car, I want to get rid of it, I'm 100% going to make a profit selling this car. And after adding modifications, I am not going to be underwater with the car, which honestly, realistically doesn't matter because I didn't buy the car for that much at all. So that kind of thought is out of the picture. And I think that's going to be a huge kind of bonus when buying these cars here in 2021. A lot of the modifications are cheap. A lot of the modifications are that going to add significant horsepower. In my case, are going to cost the same, maybe a little bit more than the car itself, but yield a huge result and a huge benefit. And that's another reason as to why I feel like these cars are 100% worth going ahead and picking up here in 2021. Now, again, these can kind of vary depending on how much you pick these cars up for, but I recommend you guys trying to find an SN95 Mustang from around the no more than $7,000 price range, because again, if you guys do get bored of the car, you can go ahead and sell it and essentially make a profit or break even. So I think that's super important when going ahead and picking up a car like this. Now, another thing that I love about these cars, and I feel that a lot of people just kind of overlook, is these cars are super fun to just drive, to just cruise. Something about this car as opposed to the FRS is I don't have to be driving this car fast to enjoy it. I can just cruise this car, have a good time, shift at 3,000, 4,000, and just enjoy what's going around me. That's something that you really can't get with the four banger, at least in my case. You have to be like pushing the four banger, you have to be driving fast in order to kind of enjoy those cars, for me at least. And for this car, I can just cruise and have a fun time. If I'm being completely honest, I've said this in a previous video, This car, the way it is right now, even though I didn't really do any of the modifications to it, is more fun to drive, just straight up driving, than my Turbo FRS, and that's a little bit quicker than this car. As you guys can see inside, pretty mint condition. There's a slight rip on the seat right here, but a lot of these cars, rear seats, people really aren't going to be sitting back there. For the most part, at least for what I've seen on Facebook, you know, Craigslist, stuff like that, these cars are always, realistically, especially if they're for sale, they're always in decent condition. And if you have to spend some money to go ahead and freshen them up, it's really inexpensive to do so. Man, it's sunny as hell out here. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Kind of want to go ahead and give my opinions on if it's worth picking up a 2-valve Mustang here in 2021. And my opinions are, yes, it is worth picking up a 2-valve Mustang, 20-year-old Mustang in the year 2021. It's been your boy Ears POV, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.